do anything. If people want me to, I'm not just. It's not that I don't feel up to it. It's just I really don't feel up to it. Like, I'll do it, but I'd much rather. My place is small, so I'm not really into. I'm not a holiday person either. If you guys can't tell, or if I haven't stated it on the show at any time, But Thanksgiving is my shit. I love to eat and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna go out and hang with other friends and stuff this year. I will be cooking. I just won't be, making. I won't be hosting. Put it like that. So there's that. Also, my birthday is coming up. Just like last show, I will be putting my Amazon wish list. I don't expect anybody to buy me a goddamn thing. I'm just gonna put the wish list up there. If you guys feel, inclined to buy me anything, awesome. Go ahead, do that, and I will send you a gift as well. As thank you. This would be a genuine gift. I may create some art for you. I might give you some of my own art around the house, as a gift or whatnot. It's not re-gifting anything. I just like giving people the gift of art. So there's that. Again, I don't expect anybody to give me a goddamn thing from that wish list. I'm just putting it up there just in case it does happen. And I sincerely don't care if you don't, if you do or don't. It's up to you. If you're in that kind of mood, awesome. Everything I have on that wish list is cheap as shit. I think the most expensive thing on there might be like $30 or something like that. But everything else is like pretty fucking cheap. I'm gonna start adding books to it and all that shit. Just books that I want. That I would like. You'll probably see those books fall off real fucking quick too, because usually when I want something, I fucking get it, for myself. So there's that. I have a room full of shit that I've wanted, basically. So, and that's not to complain or anything like that. I just, I treat myself, put it like that. That's what happens when you grow up as a middle child and the only boy. You find ways to get the shit that you want, and more times than not, you get it yourself. So there's that. So we are in week 2, I guess, of new president-elect Donald Trump, and boy, people still upset. Why? I just don't answer why. Don't answer, because I don't care. I don't. I'm sorry. What I do want to bring up, though, however, someone asked me, how could America elect Donald Trump? And this is somebody who lives in America, but apparently they live in like the fantasy realm of America, because here's exactly how. And I'll try to be brief with it. When I say that, this is going to go on for like 10 minutes. I'll try to be brief. I'll explain exactly how and why Donald Trump got elected to be the president-elect in this country. First of all, the answer is very simple. Here's a simple answer. White people. Yes, that's the reason. White people. Not white men, not white women. White people. Y'all are the reason why. Let me break it down for you. Get your pens and papers out, and you're going to write down some shit, and this is going to make, especially if you're white. If you're a white person, you need to get this shit down in permanent ink and nail this shit to your refrigerator so you are reminded every day how fucked up you guys have actually made this country, because this is your country. I'm a minority. As a minority, I've heard millions and millions of times that this is a white man's country. So, I'm going to tell you how you guys made a mess of your own country, and it's your own fucking fault. And we're starting early with the controversial shit, because I want to get to some funny shit later on. So, here's how. I just had to close my eyes and take a deep breath, because this is honestly, I'm very reluctantly doing this segment, but I kind of have to. I know it's not going to change anything, but I kind of have to, just so I know that I got it out of my fucking system. Here's why, white people. It is your fucking fault that Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States of America. First of all, you guys just assumed that racism was a problem in this country to certain people. Listen to what I said. I never said that. Now, I said racism. You guys assume that racism was a problem to certain people in this country. Now, there's certain groups to this certain people. First of all, you guys honestly thought that enough white people in this country would find a problem with racism. Wow, were you fucking wrong. First of all, let's look at the makeup of this country. Now, there are more suburban areas than urban areas in this country. You know? Why is that? Well, this is a very big fucking country, and there's a lot. Have you ever driven across this country? There's a lot of middle of nowhere fucking places in this country. Primarily in the south, primarily in the middle of the country as well. It's not a lot of fucking places. I'm from Chicago. When you get out of Chicago, and I mean like out of like the suburbs that immediately surround Chicago, there ain't shit going on. Yes, Chicago came up as a blue state. However, 80% of the population of Illinois live in that top fucking corner. Outside of that 20% is a very, very, very concentrated Republican, just like, I'm not even going to say Republican. I'm not going to divide people up like that. But it's just very, like, down-home, suburban people, who, basically their exposure to minorities is what's presented on television, and most minorities, especially black people, are represented by their absolute fucking worst. So when you have someone who, like Donald Trump, will just say whatever the fuck is on his brain, that's how a lot of those people talk. That's how the majority of areas in this country speak. That's how they think. And it's not just white people. It's also people who actually classify as white. What do I mean by that? Here's your second problem. Y'all thought that Latinos would vote against Trump just based on what he's saying about building a wall around Mexico. Here's where some subtle racism comes in, white people. Not all Latinos in this country are Mexican. Most Latinos in this country are not Mexican, can vote in this country, and you gotta have to think about this thing. When it comes to racism, it's not just exclusive to white people. No, a lot of Latinos hate other fucking Latinos. So when you say you're gonna build a wall around Mexico to keep them out, you got Cubans, you got Dominicans, you got Puerto Ricans who like, yeah, keep them motherfuckers out. We don't like Mexicans. We don't like being called Mexicans. That's a little racist thing right there. Y'all thought that just because he said something bad about Mexicans, that other Latinos would answer the call like this was like this fucking big unity thing? No. A lot of them, Puerto Ricans in particular, who can come and go as they please in this country because they're part of the United States, not a United State, but they're part of it. They're like, yeah, keep them motherfuckers out, And also, here's something that a lot of people don't know, or we just don't fucking talk about. A lot of Latin people classify as Caucasian. Yeah, Caucasian is not exclusively white. Here's a short list, and this is not even the full list. Here's a short list of people in this United States who can actually classify as Caucasian. We have, of course, white people. Remember, Italians weren't white until very recently. Same as Irish people. People from certain countries in Latin America. People from North Africa. If you are where the Sahara Desert is in Africa, did you know that you could move to the United States, gain citizenship, and click on Caucasian as your race? Did you know that? Middle Eastern people can do the same thing. So can certain groups of Asian people. These are mostly people who are not from the Orient of Asia. So Caucasian, that's a number. They created that term and gave that status to certain people to bolster their numbers. That's where the term minority comes in. Here's another problem with a lot of white people if they didn't understand. Here's how you fucked up. You just assumed that black people would vote against Trump. First of all, you assumed that black people would vote. Did you guys know how disenfranchised black people are when it comes to voting? And a lot of black people are actually turned away from voting. When I was, how old was I when that happened? It was 96, I want to say. Yeah. It was the second time Bill Clinton was running for president. And my mom and my grandma, because we got the day off from school, I remember that. My mom and my grandma had went down the street to go vote. Now, my grandma could vote because she's been in the same address forever. My mom, they turned away. They said my mom wasn't registered to vote. Now, my mom worked for the post office at that point. She registered to vote and did all that stuff. But when she got to her polling place, they just basically just turned her away. Why did they do that? I hadn't talked to my mom and asked, because my mom doesn't have my memory for whatever reason, or she just doesn't like to talk about certain shit. But that was like my first experience of a black person being turned away from voting. The first time I voted for Barack Obama, the 2008 election, I voted for Barack Obama in that election. That was the first time he ran. I remember that because I had my own apartment. I lived on my own in Arizona and all that stuff. It was great. And I was dating the ex-girlfriend who shall remain nameless. So when I went to my polling place, all I had was my voter ID card. I had my voter ID card, and I always have my ID on me because it's, the law. So I go to my polling place, and they say, "Oh, I don't have all the information." Now I have my voter registration card in my hand. Oh, you need a proof of address. Okay, cool. It was walking distance from my house. I went home and I got 3 bills and a magazine. I'm like, how is this not enough? This is a utility bill. What are you talking about? They basically tried to turn me away. This happens to a lot of people of color, especially in certain states during certain elections. So, also, y'all just think that we still kind of rock with Bill Clinton like that. We don't. We know what kind of fucked up laws he put up. Also, you can't really replace, a charismatic 40-something-year-old black dude with an 80-year-old white woman who basically made up a whole bunch of laws to lock people up who look like you. You know what I mean? A lot of black people just sat out the fucking vote. I personally was like, I voted in for like local stuff and like props and all that stuff. I went for a third party vote. I really did. Say what the fuck you want about it, but you know what? I honestly was not about to pick which one of these people who actually hate people who look like me should be in charge of shit. I'm sorry. And a lot of white people were just sitting on their laurels like, you know what? This will all work out fine. Blacks always vote Democrat. Latinos, they hate Donald Trump. Yeah, no, they don't. Not really. No, not really. And it's not even about that. It's just that when you go to certain parts of the fucking country, there are people who sound absolutely exactly like Donald Trump. So he actually found a fucking ignorant ass group to fucking relate to, and they turned out in droves. So, sorry white people, but you kind of dig this shit yourself. And now here's my part. And I tell people this shit all the time. For the last couple weeks. I don't care if Donald Trump is president. I don't care. At all. Why is that? Well, as a black man in the United States of America, my life really, I'm really not knocking it out of the fucking park when it comes to civil justice as it is. You know what I mean? And what bothers me most is the straight up arrogance some of you white people have. Not all of you, but I'm talking to y'all in very general. As a whole, there's a lot of white arrogance going around. And here's what bothers me the most. When people talk shit about Trump and Trump's supporters, not all of you again, now there are some of you who I can actually name. There are very few of them that I can actually name them, but I won't at this point, who actually are ride or die anti-bullshit when it comes to the bullshit in this country. However, as a collective, white people, I need y'all to stop listing he's racist or they're racist when you're talking about Trump and Trump supporters. This is for my white people. Because you really weren't concerned about people being racist until 2 weeks ago. That was never the first, nor will it be the last incident of someone being racist in this country. Don't act like it's a big problem for you now if you sat by and did nothing before.